Brought to you by Hulu. Time to have great original shows and movies. Time to have Hulu.
Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome back from the long weekend. We are here to talk all things Clueless in the Honest Trailer commentaries for the film of the same name. We're going to watch the trailer together. We're going to talk about our thoughts and cut jokes from the movies. We'll show those at the end. We'll talk to you guys about questions you may have, so keep those coming in the chat. And then we'll tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. We were just... Oh, God, silence your phones, people. This is
that
a movie.
Was my alarm to remind me that this show was happening.
Have some respect for the cinema, Danielle, which this is. We're talking, let's just talk about Clueless, because we were talking about a different film that we're doing next week, but which I want to keep talking about. But fine, we'll talk about Clueless, because it's great. Who doesn't like Clueless? Do any of you not like Clueless?
It's one of my favorite movies. It's like literally when I have a list of good, bad movies and then just good movies that I like. And this is on the like top 5 of good movies that I like.
Yeah, I think that this is always a treat to go back and watch. And it only gets better with age. It feels like a period piece. Like Stranger Things is making fun of the 90s with the amount of 90s stuff that they put in there. But no, this is the real deal. This is real 1995. Pure...
Well, this was in its
Uncut.
era trying to be very like, let's put everything in that kids like.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And kids like the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. What do you?
Wow, apparently.
What do you think about this film, Lon?
I was amazed at how quickly it like flew by. Like it's so light on its feet. It's like you even compared to good, like sort of coming of age high school comedies from later. I feel like this has got to be one of the fastest pace. Like you're in and you're out. It just feels like there's no down time. It's not like a lot of those comedies where, okay, we've gotten through the funny stuff. Now we've got to hit pause and like work out all the relationships. Like it's all just one package. It's super tight, and it's very, very entertaining and fast.
Joke.
One thing after another. You're never waiting for the next beat.
Picaresque, I'd say, and that kind of mirrors the novel it was based on, and novels back in the day. Weren't they all released like chapter by chapter, segment by segment, and then people?
I don't. Were Jane Austen novels serialized like that? I don't know if they were. Maybe.
I'm going to pretend they were, because it makes me sound slightly...
I know, like
Dickens
was famously serialized, but I'm not sure.
You can tell me anything. I was a theater major. Tell me
it's one
anything.
of those where it might have also been like, like it was multi-part, but it was published in like 4 installments and then collected. Like that sometimes happened too. If it wasn't like every month you got a chapter. I don't know.
I will say that
it's a book.
It updates remarkably well to the 90s. Like, and this is the best analogy for, I guess, like the landed British aristocracy is the dumb, clueless people who live in a bubble in Beverly Hills. I think it actually works super well. So I think we should just watch the trailer. We got more to say. So let's pause and go as we see. Let's roll it for
3 volumes, by the way. Emma was first published in 3
there
volumes.
You go. Nice.
So smart about books.
From the decade that brought you the sincerity of grunge, the slacking of Generation X, and the dursting of Fred, comes another relic of a bygone era. A mid-budget studio comedy. Clueless.
God, I miss those.
Welcome to
God,
LA.
I miss those.
Okay, West LA. All right, like 5 blocks of LA. Not a taco in sight. And meet Cher, a rich girl with a $2 brain full of $10 words.
I've tried everything to convince him of my scholastic aptitude, but I was brutally rebuffed.
She'll as-if you through the world of 90s teen culture.
As if.
As seen through the eyes of a spoiled rich girl.
As if.
As seen through the eyes of a much older screenwriter.
I don't want to be a traitor to my generation and all, but I don't get how guys dress today.
Okay, literal boomer.
As if.
Watch as Cher matures from a plastic doll who squeaks when she doesn't get her way.
Oh.
All right, let's pause. There'll be more Cher stuff, but do you guys like Cher as a character, and why? Or do you not, and why? Or are you on that? Do you ride that edge?
I do. I find her, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, like I just want to pat her on the head. Like, oh, you could have been smart and you couldn't like, because she shows moments where she's very compassionate, and she shows moments where she actually kind of gets things that are happening in the world, but she was raised in this bubble where it's like she just doesn't know. And so like obviously she's a product of extreme privilege, but I also just like, I don't know, I'm older now, I have empathy, I just want to pat her on the head and be like, let me teach you things, you know?
Yeah. I mean, and the movie is like, the movie is kind of skewering her perspective at the same time. She is just she comes across so innocent, like a little bunny you want to pat and say, there, it's okay, you tried.
I was thinking a little bit about White Lotus when I was watching this, and I know that's an odd, like in the novel Emma, I feel like she's allowed to make more of a, like she arcs, like by the end she sort of realized, she not only recognizes that she loves Mr. Knightley, you know, aka Paul Rudd in this, like she comes to that realization, but in the novel she also sort of realizes like, oh, I've been horrible to these people and I need to like change my perspective on the world. And Cher doesn't really, she realizes that she loves Paul Rudd, but she doesn't really change her view. But I feel like that's kind of part of the satire. It sort of works in the movie. Like she wouldn't have a total epiphany. She would just realize like what's going on in this limited situation and how to like fix it. So I feel like that kind of works. Like she's not likable, but you understand who she is and her worldview and how she fits in. And I think it's that balance of satire where we like her, but not so much that we can't still make fun of her.
I will say, I do think she has more of an arc. It's just a weird kind of zigzaggy arc, because she does start with her, like, it starts with her being very selfish, and she puts together those two teachers because she wants to get her grades together. And then she meets Ty, and granted, it's not great to suddenly be like, who you are is trash and I'm going to make you not trash. But it does represent her being like, I want to do something for someone else. So there is like even though like that person winds up like totally like she creates a monster who then unmonsters herself. So she, Imagine Dragons monster is now in my head. And so she, monster. No. Sorry, don't want to get us demonetized. But so she, it does wind up being a little, but it's also like, it's such a small, it's not a these, it's like a.
Yeah, I would say that it's a narrow wobble of an arc, and she doesn't need to. I think that there's plenty of stories. She's like a Forrest Gumpian character, or like a Chauncey Gardner or Superman even, where like they don't change. They kind of like inspire the people around them to change. Because I think she ends the movie as about as clueless as she starts. Like the Pismo Beach disaster relief, notwithstanding.
She's a little less judgmental. Like at the beginning, she's like, those are the burnouts. We don't hang out with them. And like by the end, it's got that Mean Girls thing. If she's sort of recognized the humanity even in people she wouldn't have before. I get that it's there. I just feel like Amy Heckerling, for the purposes of comedy, allows her to be kind of a crummy person right up until the end of the movie. And I didn't mind that watching it. I feel like that kind of, well, it's set in Beverly Hills among these extremely privileged people. It would take more than one life experience to knock her out of this loop. And I feel like that it works for the movie that we're watching.
Yeah, it's on purpose, which is like, I think like that's like the thing where people get like, oh, well, I don't like the characters or the movie's bad. And like, sometimes it's on purpose. You're not supposed to like, sometimes writing is good, y'all.
This is a direct, like send up of these people. Like we're not just supposed to love them. We're also supposed to kind of judge them and like look at how skewed their worldview is by where they live and the circumstances in which they've grown up. And it works really well at that without making it mean. I mean, I think that's the knife's edge that she's walking with this whole movie, is that we're not condemning these people in a hateful way. We like them. It's just, it's doing both.
Here. All right, well said. Let's keep watching.
Good. To a thoughtful woman who realizes the error of her ways, eventually.
Ty is my pal. I don't begrudge her a boyfriend. I wonder if they have that my size.
Sorta?
Lucy, you know I don't speak Mexican.
I'm not a Mexican.
Okay, she doesn't realize the error of her ways, but she does realize which boy she has a crush on.
I love Josh.
It's a start. Throw on your best plaid miniskirt and join the popular clique with Cher's bestie Dionne, whose job is reacting to stuff.
Stop!
Pause. I'm already seeing in the comments a lot of people doing a great job pitching the joke from reaction face to reactionary, and bravo. I wish I thought of that first. So
Well done.
Yeah, keep it coming. All right. Anyways, keep going.
Which, considering Stacey Dash's whole deal, the fewer chances to speak, the better.
I guess a lot of people in the transgender community would then say, it is who I am.
Okay, then go to the bushes. I don't know what to tell you.
Brittany Murphy as Ty, a transfer student from the School of Hard Knocks. But when Cher transforms her into a fellow hot mean girl,
You're a virgin who can't drive.
it'll take all of 8 minutes before she apologizes and the main conflict is diffused.
I'm so sorry, Ty. Cher, I'm really sorry.
There's really not much of a
that
plot
shirt.
to this flick. It's mostly just
Sorry,
kids
pause.
not
We did
realizing who.
What'd you say, Danielle?
Oh, sorry. I had that shirt. The shirt that Ty is wearing. When
Good shirt.
when Ty embraces skater raver culture, I totally had that shirt.
Yeah. I just missed that. But like my older brother and cousins definitely had like short pants that were so baggy that they'd wear suspenders under their shirts to hold them up because like belts wouldn't do the trick.
Well,
Yeah.
and look, there were pants for women. I'm aging myself, but there were pants for women that used to have a crotch pocket because that's where you could put your drugs because they wouldn't pat you up there.
Crotch pocket.
Gotta have the crotch pocket.
You gotta have the crotch pocket.
I love
Yeah.
that we put the time code there because that's it really is 8 minutes from conflict to conflict over in the movie.
Right. Yeah.
Important
Yeah.
to point out.
I didn't mind it. I think not all movies need a like one overarching thing. Look at Chef. It's just about like a dude in a truck cooking food.
Well, I mean, we sort of bring up the Mean Girls comparison. I like Mean Girls as well, but that's an example of how I think the plot kind of forces them towards the end. Like they do have to kind of like, okay, we'll put the comedy over here, and now we're gonna like, here's the message, and here's what you're getting out of this. And Clueless does not ever make that transition.
I mean,
It's
Mean
just
Girls pulls that off very
hijinks.
well, but Mean Girls nails it. But I think that most comedies run into a lot of trouble in the third act when they're like, put the comedy over here. Come on, like turn the chair around, turn your hat
Right.
backwards.
I
Let's get
learned a
serious.
lot about community. Yeah.
Boo. All right, keep going.
Plot to this flick? It's mostly just kids not realizing who likes them.
Great. Then Ty will go with Summer and Cher, you'll come with me.
Actually, you could take Wilshire to Cannon, and that turns into Benedict.
Well, because if girls
The
do it, what would guys
Californians.
do to impress them?
I don't know. Do you see how he's falling in love with me? I mean, look how he ignores every other girl.
What am I gonna do with that?
I don't want it.
If high schoolers were really this clueless, we'd have way fewer seasons of Teen Mom.
Yeah, like, looking back on Christian this time, he stepped into a time tunnel and got like spit out in 1995. I'm worried about him.
He is using slang that like literally even with context his classmates would not be picking up. Like they all just understand what he's saying. It's like a foreign language half the time.
Also, watching this as an adult, my queerdar is just bing, bing, bing-a-ling, ding.
I mean, that's obviously part of the joke for
It's part of
us.
the joke. I didn't get it when I was a kid.
No.
When I was a kid,
Oh, no, me
I was
either, no.
as equally surprised. And as an adult, I'm like, oh no, that dude is gay.
Right. But like, was that an affectation in the 90s? It's like if you're gay, you talk like someone from the 1930s.
Well, and that's what I like about his character so much is that it's combining this thing, which is like that was in like those like swing kids, those ring-a-ding-ding kids, those wannabe rat cat kids.
Yeah,
that was in.
There was
so it
like
gave him more
beatnik-
of a character. Yeah.
There definitely was that beatnik hipster 50s 60s way of like that was a thing in the 90s for sure. He's an extreme version. Like, I don't think I ever heard anybody ask somebody where the clam bake was or if they could have a fin to go get a beer. Like, that seems pretty far. Like, you're going, I think, further back into the arcane phrases than most teens would go.
Yeah.
But there definitely was the like greaser beatnik hip, like bring back these 50s subcultures things in the 90s.
Yeah, and I will say, as someone who has said 23 skidoo and has now turned it into, and I say skadooch all the time. I totally say skadooch all the time. Like some of that did wind up making its way into at least like West Coast culture. And again, I think that's another thing where it's like he could only have that affectation because he has the money.
Yeah. If they remake Clueless, what era is he pulling from?
Oh my gosh.
Or do they just make him a furry or something? I
never
realized he was a furry in his giant suit.
I think it's the same. I think you go right back to the same. I think he's like just 30s, 40s slang still. Yeah. Like flipping a coin, you know. He's got like a fedora, you know.
Yeah, one of the defining things,
swinging a pocket watch around.
Yeah, our current era is that like everything is now retro, and we're not really being selective about it. Used to be like there would be a certain era that would be really in at a certain time. Now we just do everything. It's just a hodgepodge.
Yeah. Well, because like what would he be, like a hippie? Like, well, there are plenty of people who are still into that kind of, you know, look, but that, you know, like every era has people who are into that era now. It's a free for all.
Sorry, I put that bad mojo into the universe of remaking Clueless, but it'll happen. I mean, I guess they keep making Emma, but
we just got an Emma remake last year.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep playing.
Don't forget to check out all the boys, like Donald Faison, who used movie magic to not look like a total uggo.
He had fake braces famously in Clueless.
Yes, because they were trying to hide my small teeth. They shaved my head in Clueless because my hairline was receding at 18.
Travis.
But you know what? Pause. It's nice to see people in movies from, let's say, the late 90s and before, who actually had like regular human-sized teeth. Like everybody now has a complete mouthful of chiclets, I find. And it's
wow, call me out, Spencer.
What? I didn't. Well, if you got it done, it was very, very subtle, and I didn't notice. But I
broke my front teeth, so I had to get new ones.
Oh, okay.
I was a party monster.
I wouldn't be able to resist the temptation to do at least one gold tooth, but that's just me. I always want to be.
Or to just go like 2 sizes too big and have the Matt Dillon from Something About Mary look.
Can I tell like a weird story?
Yeah, please.
So when I broke these teeth because I was a party monster, and I just did. And when I went to go get them done, they made them too long. And the dentist was like, these are trendy teeth now. These are the teeth everyone's doing. These like really long bunny teeth. And I was like, I've never heard of trendy teeth. I just want teeth that look like my teeth.
It's so hot right now.
Yeah. And I looked over and it was this dentist where it was her and her 2 daughters both worked this place. And I looked over and it was really like, bum, bum, bum. Like they all had bunny teeth. And I was like, they were trying to give me their teeth. Sorry.
That's a very mild human centipede situation where she's just slowly turning people into rabbits.
Yes.
Yeah. That's
you see a rabbit person in Seattle. Bunny. That's where it came from.
His teeth are so hot right now. I love it.
Everybody's elongating their ears. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We're putting these cottontails above the ass crack of all of our clients.
All right, let's keep playing.
Travis, the only guy to go to rehab for pot.
See, I joined this club and
it's made me so sad.
Bob Saget would not approve.
You ever for marijuana?
The always sensual Wallace Shawn. And of course, Josh, played by a time-traveling Paul Rudd. He shares love interest, who also happens to be her ex-stepbrother, which the movie desperately wants to make okay.
He's your stepbrother.
You were hardly even married to his mother, and that was 5 years ago. He is not your dad. Josh, you are not my brother.
It's only a matter of time before help.
This is just this rewatch. The thing that really clicked for me was not that it's exceptionally creepy that her dad used to be married to his mom 5 years ago. What's creepy is that he's an older man dating a 16-year-old, and he looks like, what is wrong with this guy?
It was complicated math because in the beginning of the movie, she's 15 and he is in college. So he's like 18, 19.
Yeah.
And then she does turn 16 during the course of the movie, but it's still like, I don't know, man. I remember being in college and I still thought that 16-year-olds weren't people.
Oh, just like if you were a freshman in college and you like went back to visit your high school campus, that's not cool.
Yeah, it's that she's not even a senior. Like that, I feel like if she was a senior and he was in college, you'd be like, all right, but after this school year, she's gonna go to college. We'll just be two college. We only have a few months of weirdness left to go.
No, he's gonna come back for prom.
Right, until we're just two dating college students. But no, even if she's a junior in the Clueless year, that's a full school year now. Like he's got to go, homecoming and prom, and it's a bad scene you don't want to be into.
No,
bad luck.
No, not cool. Not cool, Red. Anyways,
especially like what happens if he brings her around and it's Cher from Clueless also. Like he's never gonna live that down.
All right, keep playing.
Help, Josh! I'm caught in the washing machine. But
I wish I didn't get that reference.
Josh is still a college guy dating a 16-year-old girl, and he looks like Paul Rudd. What happened, dude? Did every girl on campus see Halloween 6?
Lon did. That's a great series of
a
faces.
More sophisticated era, the 90s.
It's bizarre.
Mentos, the fresh maker.
We might get Marky Mark to plant a celebrity tree.
In an adaptation of a Jane Austen novel that skips most of the social commentary, cuts half the characters, and reworks a 500-page narrative about class into a bubblegum romp that turned all your assigned reading into Hollywood gold. I'm not saying Julia Stiles owes Alicia Silverstone a check, but she owes Alicia Silverstone a check. So get ready for a movie that captures all the major trends of its decade, like box office hits about big old dummies, movies where a band with a horn section randomly shows up, and films about an attractive actress pretending to be an ugly duckling until they get a makeover.
Guys, she's got glasses and a ponytail. Oh, look at that. She's got paint on her overalls.
That's the perfect takedown of that whole trope. They really nail it in
that is the one parody movie that I actually haven't watched it in 10 years. It's probably terrible, but I remember that being like a cut above the scary movies and the other, obviously the epic movies and their ilk, but not another teen movie I remember really enjoying more so than any of the others. Just that song about true love's what I want the most. I just jerked off in your French toast. Will come unbidden into my head to this very day. Yeah. All right. Let's keep going with Clueless.
Bro Rida, A Little Dash Will Do Ya. Donald Failson, King of the Beverly Hill. Brother from another mother, so it's technically fine. Relax. Ty Bo, Guys and Dollface. Inconceivably sexy. The American education system. The only relatable character for anyone over 25.
Hi, Daddy. This is my friend Ty.
Get out of my chair.
Something that's interesting, like that kind of is hanging over the film, I think, for me, is like, what is her dad doing? Like, what is law?
He's a lawyer.
He's the law.
One thing that's always been really interesting to me, and they don't dive into it, and it's probably not my place to say it, but I just love that, like, Cher is so obviously Jewish, and like the movie
Cher
never
Horowitz.
Gets into it.
The last name is Horowitz. Yeah,
and they never get into it, and I kind of find that entertaining.
That might have been in a draft, and then when they cast Alicia Silverstone, they're like, let's cut the overtly Jewish stuff.
Yeah.
Daddy, I got schmaltz on my schlemiel. Let's cut that.
Yeah, I don't know if this still works.
Yeah, I just think that, like, because Josh is studying environmental law, so he's probably not on the side of the national park system in whatever case he's working on. He's probably
that whole thing. Obviously, when you're writing the script, there needs to be a reason that Josh is ostensibly coming around, other than just to see Cher, because you don't want to. At the beginning, they're not hanging out. You know, it has to be like they discover they enjoy hanging out. But it feels very flimsy. Like, I get that you don't want to spend that much time on it. You just want to have him around the house, but he's helping out with some research. Like Dan Hedaya is this big Beverly Hills lawyer who doesn't have a staff at his office that they could be doing this research. He's bringing it home and having people in his house just sitting around at his dining room table. What is all of this research? Why is Paul Rudd of all people helping him out? Like,
maybe he's a mob lawyer.
It's a thin premise.
Yeah, as a former paralegal, that part bugs me so much now. I'm not going to my boss's house. That's weird.
The whole thing is just.
And if I am, I'm not wearing a suit.
What if he had a
And then
crush
where
on their
is-
ex-step kid?
And then
gross.
where is he? Like half the time they're working at his house doing his law work, he's not even there. Like, so wait, is he at the office and people are doing the legal work at his house? Well, like it doesn't make any sense.
Oh man.
Damn it. And that's
Damn
why
it.
I don't like Clueless.
That's why Clueless stinks.
I'm
Okay.
kidding.
Keep playing.
And Cher playing with her hair.
A lot of that.
Marvel's As If.
Thank you very much.
Okay, how often do kids break out into applause for each other in class? Was that a thing? It was never a thing.
And everybody clapped.
And everyone clapped. Yeah, that's
happened.
when I tell stories about all the times I took down my teacher with facts and logic, and everybody clapped.
Yeah.
This all happened at a downtown hipster coffee shop.
All right, thank you.
I wish I
Thank
didn't
you
get
all
that
for
reference either.
sadly.
Yeah, that's a crappy reference that we all get. Yeah.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss another video that we make here on Fandom Entertainment. I'm sure there's some good stuff coming up. There always is. But I know what's good and what's coming up is the outtakes. Let's watch the deleted scenes from Clueless.
But even if they aren't related, Josh is still a college guy dating a 16-year-old girl. Let's just say a law student should know better. Starring Babe and Confused, the blonde leading the blonde, sharing means caring, Loquacious D, I'm a stupid man, Bald Ambition. No, I am not on Scrubs. Scrubs is a show that's not on in the 90s. Click
Oh, so close.
Big
Wait,
Brother
damn
is
it.
watching. Paul and the Family, Franklin and Trashed, Brecken the Law, Swing a Ding Ding Kid, Stereotypical Cher fan, The Tragically Hipster.
Oh yeah, we forgot to get
Sonny
that.
and Cher, Mall Brats, It's a Wonderful Life, Preen Girls. Emma let you
Preen Girls.
finish,
Oh.
but Clueless is the best adaptation of all time. A movie made for teens that also satirizes them, but not too hard or their feelings might get hurt? It's basically Starship Troopers, but without the fascism and space bugs. Or beams.
Well, John improv that one. I love the Starship Troopers comparison. I guess that's why I like both of these movies that just make fun of, but also show off funny, good-looking teenagers.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Verhoeven, in a weird way, is doing the same balance, where it's like you do kind of have to invest in this scenario to care about the film, but also obviously it's like a big goof, and we're making fun of these stupid kids, and like that's not always as easy to do as they make it look.
Yep.
God, I love Paul Verhoeven.
I can't wait for his new Nun movie coming out.
Oh, I can't.
I can't wait.
Can't wait. Like, oh, Dirty Nuns? Yes.
Paul Verhoeven presents Dirty Nuns.
It's perfect. It's perfect. That's exactly what he should do. Yeah.
All right, on to the questions. Evan J. Pretzer asks, nice moment I want to do. Can we please take time during the question period to wish Danielle a late happy birthday? Happy birthday, Danielle.
Happy birthday. Thank you.
See, there was one guy that used to keep track of the birthdays, and he's gone. So, damn it. Sorry. Happy belated birthday, Danielle. Something's in the mail.
It's fine. We don't need cookies. We're not in the office anymore.
we had so many cookies when we were in that office together that I think we're dead for like 4 years.
Yeah, I'm cooked out.
We've conserved 4 years worth of cookies.
Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, and I'm
Thank
sure
you.
everyone in the chat is sounding off as well. Jeffrey Yelverton asks, which movie character most closely resembles your actual high school self? Oh, well.
Oh.
Wow. All right.
Like from Clueless or just any movie character?
Who was that in Dazed and Confused? That redhead nerd girl who's trying very hard to keep up with everyone.
Right.
That
I don't remember that character's name, but I'm picturing her right now.
Yeah,
she ends up with Adam Goldberg the whole time.
Yeah, and she
or at least until the end. By Nikki Cat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is definitely I was the nerd who tried to be cool, did too many drugs and then discovered they just helped my ADD. That was the person I was.
I'm drawing a blank. I don't know.
I'm gonna go with Enid from Ghost World, Thora Birch. I found that movie that movie came out after I was no longer in high school, but I immediately found it very relatable. I had that same, like, that kind of, I don't know, I guess I got a mixture of feeling kind of alienated and isolated, but also kind of thinking that you're a little bit better and smarter than everyone. And that's the explanation why. And so then looking back, you're like, well, that's why no one wanted to hang out with you. So yeah, I feel like
Steve Buscemi did.
Right. Yeah. So I found that movie very relatable when it came out. And that's the first one that popped into my head.
Yeah. I always found both of the Petes the spoke to me in different ways from Pete and Pete. So
as in the Adventures of.
Yeah. Yes. So a merger of two Petes kind of describe, if not my personality, then my goals throughout high school and beyond.
And you were friends with the strongest man in the world, so that makes sense.
You were also around.
Awesome. Let's see here.
I feel like if we could use TV, I would also say Marty Sherman, the critic's son from the animated series, The Critic.
Nice.
Just a physical double for me in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Someone asked what happened to my old prop guitar. How dare you? I played a lot of bass, not guitar. Thanks. And it's it's off camera. Relax.
Paul Rudd style slapping the bass.
Slapping the bass. And then Clueless became a terrible TV show. Has any movie ever successfully jumped to the small screen? And I mean, let's say besides Fargo, because I think Fargo is going to be the top.
I take umbrage. Clueless TV was a great TV show.
Oh, okay.
I take total umbrage. I really love that
umbrage
show.
Is taken.
I've seen every episode. It is genuinely really good. And it winds up redeeming some of the characters, and it's all on YouTube. So go check it out. How rips.
I would say maybe that lasted the entire run, but there have been some good like first seasons of a show, like Westworld season 1 I thought was really good.
Yeah.
Bates Motel season 1 was really good. Also Fox did a 2-season Exorcist TV show with John Cho and like Gina Davis and a few other good people were in that, and that was actually surprisingly good. Pretty recently.
Nice. All right, let's wrap up with this one. Aditya Agarwal asks, if Clueless is the most 90s movie, I think it's Hackers, but fine. What is the most 2010s movie? The 2010. So that would be 2000 to 2010, or 2010 to 20.
I think the decade we just wrapped up.
The one we just wrapped up.
I'm assuming. Yeah, those would be the 2010s. Like the decade that just passed.
Gosh.
I'm saying
teen movies or like other movie. That's a really good question. Yeah.
I was gonna say, oh no. Doesn't it have to be like Captain Marvel or something? Like, doesn't that define that? It certainly defines the era in film more than anything else. We'll look back and be like, oh yeah, that was like superhero saturation, like self-aware MCU movie stuff. But
yeah, I mean, I'm tempted to almost be right, like The Meg or something like a Chinese American large cast co-production with effects and like that to me feels like the prototypical kind of movie that we make now.
Yeah.
See, yeah, everything I'm thinking of is like that when the 2000s merged into the 2010s, those are all of the kind of movies that I'm thinking of.
Right.
Because I think they really defined like, this is the last time we're doing this, like the Hangover movies and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, this is the last time we're going to do this movie.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said for like if you want to look at a moment that like frozen in time, like aesthetic wise, that will probably never happen again, is something like Spring Breakers, where it's like, oh, that's what a certain part of like youth culture in the 2010s looked like.
That was early 20. I feel like that might be 2010. Because I was also thinking of that era, like I feel like Fast 5, like the Fast and Furious is 5 through 7. Those are also like landmark of this past decade. Like this is what we were into. Everything is ridiculously huge. The physical logic of the world is out the window. Everything's massively franchised, and it's also Furious 7 especially captures that like extreme pathos and emotion intermixed with just the dumbest nonsense you've ever seen, like right next to each other.
Yeah,
which I think is kind of what we do now.
Yep. Well, that's cinema once again. Thank you
Bong Joon-ho going, to me, that's cinema.
Thanks everybody for watching. We will be back next week for surprise, surprise, another franchise film that didn't really work out so good. So
I like Clueless a lot better than next week's pick. Let me say.
But I think
rolling them deuces.
Yeah, well, I think it's got its redeeming qualities. But we'll talk about that next week here on Honest Trailer Commentaries. See you then. Bye-bye.
This episode was brought to you by Hulu.